Here's.
Well, I need that at home. I call this meeting to order. Our first one of the new year. Our first one with the new council, new mayor. We welcome you. Thank you for coming. We'll have the swearing in of the new elected officials.
Okay, first of all, we'll do you, Mr. Mayor. You will raise your right hand and repeat after me. And behave now. I, Robert McNair, do solemnly swear and affirm that I will faithfully perform the duties of the mayor of the city of Sky Valley.
I, Robert McNair, do solemnly affirm that I will truly perform the duties of mayor of the city of Sky Valley,
And that I will support and defend the charter thereof, as well as the Constitution and the laws of the state of Georgia and of the United States.
and that I will support and defend the charter thereof, as well as the Constitution, laws of the state of Georgia and of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Okay, next we have 3 different council members, and if you all will rise. And grab your forms and just repeat after me. I repeat your name.
Alan Wankowski.
Do solemnly swear and affirm that I will truly perform the duties of council member of the city of Sky Valley,
Do solemnly swear and affirm that I will truly perform the duties of council member of the city of Sky Valley,
and that I will support and defend the charter thereof, as well as the Constitution and the laws of the state of Georgia and of the United States.
and that I will support and defend the charter thereof, as well as the Constitution and laws of the state of Georgia and of the United States of America.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Good job, guys.
All right. I'd like to have a nomination for council president. Do I hear a motion?
I move for Mr. Chip Durbo as council president.
Do I have a second?
Second that.
Any other nominations? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. And setting the 2/18 regular meeting dates. We have that.
Yes, sir, it's in your packet under tab 4.
Here we go. Use that one. Oh, here we go. Have you all had the chance to look at the regular council meetings? Is there anyone that wishes to change any at this time? You can change them anytime, so it doesn't really matter. If
I've got them all on my calendar.
Good.
Fourth Tuesday at 10 o'clock.
At 10 o'clock. And if that's the case, I'd like to have a motion to accept the council meeting dates.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion's carried. We have the invocation, and I've asked the Reverend Bob to perform it for us, please. Everybody stand.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you for the opportunity we have here in this valley to live in such a wonderful place. Lord, I pray now for guidance and direction for these that have been chosen to serve and lead this community for the next coming year. Lord, may you provide them wisdom, guidance, illuminate them in all that they do, that they may bring peace, contentment, and a good life here for the citizens of this community. I pray a special blessing on those here at this time in this cold weather, Lord, that you preserve us and strengthen us and keep us warm. For this we ask in your Son's name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Raymond, behave.
Well, we have the approval of the minutes. We've got 3 of them here, so we can approve them all if you wish at one time. October 17th to 17th, October 24th to 17th, and November 14th to 17th.
I've read them all and I make a motion we approve them.
Have a second?
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. I have a motion to adopt the agenda for today.
Also moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Under mayor's remarks, I have just one thing. I know that I campaigned and I said that the first thing I was going to do is to eliminate section 13-3. But I'm finding out that the legal way, we do not have an attorney right now. Until we get an attorney, we're just going to set back on that. But I will say that I am not going to vote on any issues at all as mayor. The only time I'll vote is if we happen to have a tie, then I'll vote. But other than that, I will not be a voting mayor. I could veto, but I will not be a voting mayor. And again, thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
In the council remarks, I know, Neil, call on you. You want to-
Well, first, Happy New Year and welcome to all the hardy souls of Sky Valley, because you're all here. And I want to regress just a little bit, if you'll indulge me. As many of you know, I served 6 years on the council previously. And on the last term, I did not run for election until this year, so I took a year essentially off. And I think that was very good to sit back and kind of think about my service to the city. And one thing that encouraged me to run again, besides a few good friends, was the fact that I heard from many of the part-time people that, certainly they're not here today, but that live with us part of the year, half of the year. All they would say I'd hear is that we can't vote, so we have no say. We have no say. I heard it over and over and over. And that bothered me because some statesman once said that I was going to look up and didn't, and I don't remember, and you probably do, said that the pen was mightier than the sword. In other words, a person's voice, you know, if they have really something to say, they can be heard. So I encouraged those people to come to our council meetings, and some of them did. And so I said, we need to find a way for at least their voices to be heard, and for a council who didn't seem to, were divided and didn't seem to want to compromise or reach out in conciliation very much. And I thought we're pretty closed in discussing issues. And I thought, you know, what we could do is we used to have workshops, not many, but back on, early on when I first got on council. If there was an issue, we'd have a workshop. And so on my platform, one of the major things I proposed was having more workshops. And since my election, I've met with the city clerk, the city manager, I've talked to the mayor and others, and what we're going to do is have non-voting workshops about a week before our regular council meetings, probably most of the time. And that's so that we can get together in a public forum where the public's invited and they'll have a voice, and we can discuss plans for our city before we have to bring it to a vote at that meeting. And so we can discuss and debate and research, or put something on the agenda, or maybe take it off if we don't think we're ready. And then, you know, have public participation. Is what is your feeling about where we should go with our city, and what, you know, we'll get the yays and the nays and the suggestions, and we will still do what we think collectively as a council is best for the city, or propose that. But at least we'll have a way to debate and talk and include the public before we have to bring something to a vote meeting. And that discussion, I think, and will give everybody, including those taxpayers that don't have a vote and don't think they have a vote, a way to participate in the government of our city.
Paul?
And
Oh, you done?
I'm long-winded, don't you know that?
God.
Time for a commercial, yeah.
But anyway, I was almost through. I just wanted to say that there's some fine tuning, I'm sure, with exactly how we do this yet, that will work out within the next month or so. But stay tuned and for that. And what I wanted to mention is this is not the first. Many cities do this. I didn't really know that, but I talked to Ella. Ella joined us from a city where she was city clerk, and they did it before every meeting. And I just think this is something that will help us all to work together. And that's what I ran again for, is so that we can work together, discuss together, debate together, whatever it takes to move our beautiful, wonderful cities forward with direction that's from the community as well. And I'm now finished. Thank you.
That was the longest 5 minutes that we ever had. Paul, you have something to say?
Just a little update. The tree ordinance hearing was scheduled for the December meeting, which was canceled. We didn't have the proper amount of time to put out notice for a hearing today. That's why it's not on the agenda today. We intend for it to be on the agenda in February, and we intend to have one of Neil's workshops a week before that meeting, so we can get a feedback on what the consensus of the majority of the taxpayers are. That's all I have. Thanks for everybody for coming.
You got anything you'd like to say?
I don't remember saying that.
Yours.
Oh, yes, you do.
Thank you all for coming. Happy New Year. I am so proud to have the council we have up here, and fantastic. I'm just excited about this coming year, and I know we'll all be able to work together and make things happen for the future. Hope we can do everything you want done and get Sky Valley growing again, get the values of Sky Valley up. That's the whole goal that I'm pushing anyway. So thank you all very much for coming, and happy New Year.
Chip is Uber. Yeah, the Uber driver.
Connie, I know you have something you would like to.
Well, of course, of course. Thank you, everybody, for showing up this morning. Happy New Year. It's going to be fantastic. And I look forward to working with all these guys up here. I'll have to keep them in line, I know. But at any rate, it's going to be an honor to serve with them. We've got a good council. Thank you.
Yeah?
Good morning, everyone. Neil pretty much covered everything that I was intending to say. I think the issue from my platform that I would state was TLC, transparency, listen, and compromise. And that's a two-way street. It's not just the council members that need to be transparent and to listen and compromise. It's all of the taxpayers. As Neil said, it's not just the voting members in Sky Valley that count. The seasonal residents, a lot of them feel they don't have a voice, and I think that's a very important factor to consider. The other thing that I wanted to say that I don't think Neil covered, or maybe he did, but is that it's important for all of the taxpayers to be actively involved in the city and its events, its finances, and its future. And it's important for everyone to speak up as to whatever their thoughts are. Whether we agree with them or not, it's the idea to brainstorm and to figure out what we can do and take into account where everybody is at. So I just encourage that everybody would be active, attend as many meetings as you can, and even if you don't feel comfortable standing up in a meeting, find somebody that can speak for you, that would stand up and say, hey, so-and-so isn't real comfortable speaking in a public setting, but this is the thought. So it's just sharing. It's sharing information, and everybody here likes being in Sky Valley, otherwise you wouldn't be here. And Sky Valley is a great place. I've only been here a few years, but it's a really fantastic place. And I think that we've got some very, very talented people that we can pretty much accomplish whatever we want. So thank you all for attending, and hope to see you at all the future meetings. Thank you.
Before I give it to the city manager, I just wanted to tell you people, you've heard from the new ones. I hope they excite you as much as they do me, that this is the future of Sky Valley, that we're going to do everything we can to make everybody happy, which is very hard. But with this group, I have no doubt we're going to make you proud of us. Thank you. Linda?
Welcome to all of our new members. Congratulations on your election, and I look forward to working with everyone. Our reports will have to be emailed this month with the meeting coming so early in the month. The bank statements haven't been received. We haven't got the reports from the year or for the month end from all the departments, but We'll send out an email with all of those reports as soon as they're ready, should be in the next week or so. The only announcement, I think, is we will be closed for the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, so that will push Tuesdays, our garbage to Tuesday, so be aware of that. It'll be in my report. I think
It is.
it is 15. That's all I have.
Okay. Selection of signatures for the city bank account, we've done that.
Well, you have to do it officially.
Huh?
You have to do it officially.
Ah. Right. The city bank account. Al and myself are to sign the check, so,
And
and
new. That's who.
you?
Yeah, you have to do it, me.
God damn it.
So we need a motion.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make
Neil,
a,
and Neil's gonna have to look after Al and I, make sure we do it right.
I'll make the motion that's the 3 authorized signatures on the account.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we have a nomination for 3 planning and zoning committee members.
I move that we nominate Richard Boyle, James Martindale, and Lori Oken for the Planning and Zoning Commission vacancies.
I'll second the motion.
Who was the last one?
Lori Oken.
Laura, you want to stand up and introduce yourself?
Hey, everybody. I'm Lori Oken. I'm new here, sort of seasonal, but I just retired from the city of Raleigh, where I brought many events and conventions there. So I'm really excited to be here in Skyvalley.
Well, welcome. Welcome.
So your last name?
It's OKUN, 4 little letters. OK United Nations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do I have any other nominations? Do I have a motion to accept these 3 as members of the planning and zoning?
We have a motion.
Need a motion in a second.
We did. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's carried. Appointment for the 2 representatives for the city, for 3-way and 2-way marketing. I have nominated Neil Howard and Chip Durko to be the members to support for the town on that committee.
I'll make a motion that they be the 2 representatives for the city.
Second.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a question.
Yes.
What is it?
What is it?
Yeah, what is the 3-way/2-way marketing fund? Thank you, Connie.
Linda, you can,
So in the marketing monies that we pull a 3-way marketing combined effort between the city, the property owners, and the club. And then we do a 2-way that is just city and the POA. So the club participates up to $7,000, or they're still setting their budget, but anyway, proposed is the $7,000. And then I think we were doing 8, but I think POA dropped theirs to 5, so we matched their 5 for the other 2-way.
So the club's 7 and the POA's 5 and the city's 5? And that's for the marketing fund?
Yeah, the club, the POA, and the city all do 7, and then the club, and the city and the POA do another 5.
First 3 do.
First 3 do 7, okay. Thank you.
They all do 7.
They all do 7, okay, thank you.
So we have 2 representatives from each of those entities that approve the ads or the whatever, billboards, that kind of thing, that they agree to spend those monies on.
I have a second on that?
Second.
Have a motion
Yeah.
to accept?
Okay, Councilmember Bud.
You got a motion and a second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Appointment to the city council liaisons to various city departments. This is something new that we are going to incorporate and try out. There's the fact that I'm appointing different ones to the different city departments as a liaison between the council and the police department. We have one person that will represent the city, and they'll work with the police department to aid, to help, and that if, for example, if the police department has certain equipment that they would like, they would talk to our representative, and he would come to the whole council. And what we're trying to do is to bring the whole council into all the decisions of everything. No more one-man manage, no more micromanage, no more nothing. It's all run by the 5 council people and the mayor, all in agreement. And we'll do the best that way. And so, for example, I've appointed Al Pointowski to the police department, Paul Wheeler for the highway, and public works. You're always correct. That's why I got them all in that.
Not correct, just remind you.
Oh, okay. So,
I wasn't corrected.
those are just a couple of them. We'll have further ones for other departments as it comes along, but that's what this is all about, what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring not only the council, but we're trying to bring the whole city under one thought. Not our thought necessarily, but to have everybody aware of what we're doing and what we'd like to do and what we need. So,
This is the first time I've actually heard about this, other than Chip was trying to explain this to me the other day, so I didn't know we were doing this. So,
okay.
I feel left out.
No, heck, yeah, wait a minute.
Is it been on the agenda, or did it just get put on there?
Yeah, sure, you have, I'm getting ready to go south, and I know when I come in here, I left papers at home, so, Connie was going to be on the representative for all the organizations, POA, Garden Club, Ladies Group. Huh? Yeah. That's yours. You're gonna be the,
I am.
I would like to.
Oh, that's better.
So, that's it. I can, I'm sorry, but I, since I don't have it, you say it, because I can't remember it. Budgeting,
The other two liaisons
Yeah.
would be Neil Howard for budgeting and myself for comprehensive land planning. And Neil, do you want to speak about the conversation we'll have about, what do I want to say? Whole business remaining on the agenda until it is completed. We've got so many outstanding old business items that just get voted in and then they just remain dormant. Nothing ever happens, so we're going to stay on the budget or stay on the agenda until they are completed. Is that correct, Neil?
Yeah, that was one of my platform things, that old business, I noticed a lot of times something is voted and approved and you wouldn't hear anything about it. Again, no action was taken, and then sometimes it needed to be revisited and see if they might change the vote, who knows? But anyway, it disappears. So I'd like to see anything that the council votes to study or approve. May take time to study, it may not be an instantaneous thing. It needs to stay listed under old business until it's resolved and not just forgotten. That's the way we did it in our business. So that's one of my suggestions.
Well, it would roll, old business would roll over to the next agenda until it's voted on. Once you vote on it, it's not an agenda item anymore. Now, we could list it under reports, so we could report on it or something like that, but if it's already been voted on, it wouldn't need further action. So, unless it was denied or not approved and then somebody wants to
Well,
bring
if
it back.
it's forgotten,
I think the goal is,
it may have been voted on, but it may not have been acted upon.
there you go.
But we can do it under reports then, is what I'm saying.
Well, whatever, it needs to be.
But you wouldn't need to vote on it again.
No.
No.
So you wouldn't put it as an agenda item, you could put it as a
I didn't
separate
know
section.
agenda items were just things we voted on.
They're not.
Why?
We can do just exactly what you're saying.
Why?
She just wants under a different heading
That's fine.
category.
And that's fine.
That's
As long as it
Anyways,
stays
we understand.
until it's
We
completed,
all
why it's not.
understand. That once something's voted on, it needs to be tracked until the action.
Too many things passed and just dropped.
constituted.
Right.
Like the sewer bill.
Like the sewer feasibility study was almost, was supposed to happen in 4 months or 5 months. And it really wasn't tracked anywhere until the report was issued almost a year after it was.
Well, I'm sure we can
It was supposed to be done.
do it properly.
So just track it.
We can do it any way y'all wanna do it.
Yeah, just so everybody's aware of the status of things that have been voted on but not yet.
All right, a budget amendment for 2017. Linda? Is that you?
These are the year-end budget amendments. I've shown the first two as well as the final. It just gives us that little bit of cushion in case the auditor pushes something one way or the other so that we're not over budget. But we're in pretty good shape as far as any changes that we need to make overall. If there's any questions, we're actually reduced it slightly over our last budget amendment. So the use of fund balance is projected to be less than what our last budget amendment was.
I'll make a motion that we accept the budget amendment for 2017 as presented.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I just want to correct the date.
Go ahead. I'm the only one saying that.
Have one there.
We just got this on Wednesday, we hadn't even had time to look at it.
Set qualifying fees for the 2018 general election.
I propose that they remain the same as they have over the past years. $15 qualifying fee.
I'll second that.
Moved and second. Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Now we get down to the nitty-gritty you was talking about. Public forum, general comments. Wow.
For anybody who doesn't know me, I'm the other Steve Mason. I did read the financial statements in general, and it's nice to know that in most instances, we're under budget. I noted that we've spent, in total, we're $372,000 in the hole. Most of that is, of which is capital improvements. And so I saw in the packet an income statement or a profit and loss statement. What I did not see is a balance sheet. And so my question is, approximately, because I don't need, all I need is round numbers, approximately how much is in the operating fund and how much is in the capital reserve fund? Can we answer that?
I will send that total out. I don't have a balance sheet with me, but as of, I mean, I could give you
So,
year end of last year for the audit if you want to see that, but then there was approximately 600-ish in fund balance, so we're spending
$600?
$600,000.
$600,000.
Of course, we won't get our audited financials
Well,
until,
all I was caring about was an order of magnitude.
yeah. Now, we collect a lot of our revenue for the taxes that we don't use until like this year. So we collect a lot of taxes that we put in deferred revenues for this year. So we collect almost all of our revenue for 2018 budget in 2017 when the taxes come out. And then you defer that revenue and roll it over.
Well,
So it becomes revenue in 2000
what were the balances last year?
for,
For the, you got an operating fund and you gotta have some kind of reserve fund for capital expenses. Am I correct?
we've got restricted fund balance and we have unrestricted fund balance. So in our unrestricted fund balance, we had 861, 664, which we're spending approximately 372 of that. So that still leaves us with our cushion. And then we had restricted for capital projects, 3,445, and we had cash and cash equivalents in the general fund of 1.9 million.
So we got $1.9 million in the operating fund and $500,000 in capital reserves.
It won't be quite that much.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Ricky Macy, 358 Big Bear Trail. Good morning, it's great to see all the concerned citizens here and taxpayers. Thanks for being here. I'd like to congratulate this year's council, the new members and the existing members that are staying on. I'd also like to thank Linda, Ella, the chief, James, the folks from the city that have done so much for us this past year, and they're going to do a lot for us coming up here. So thank you. We talked about the workshops. I think it's a great idea. And you talked about having a voice for the folks that are taxpayers that don't have a vote. I was very concerned about that, and I went down to Clayton, talked to the supervisor of elections, and I actually transferred legally my vote up here. So I could vote because I wasn't having a say. I wasn't having a voice. I can't vote in St. Pete now, but I could have. I was going to do it illegally, but I didn't. So, but I felt like my vote up here would mean more. I've asked for several years, as have others, taxpayers, but not citizens that couldn't come to all the council meetings, that we have a phone in, or we have a go to meeting live, do something. It's great that we're now filming the meetings and sending them out, but that's after the fact. They have no say. If we're having these workshops, I just would like to ask that we be able to have folks be able to call in. When I'm up here, I never miss a meeting. But a lot of time, I'm not up all the time, as are other people. And so I think it would behoove the council, if they really want to hear the voice of everyone, let us call into the workshops. I mean, there's people in Sky Valley right now that told me they were going to be here that are full-time residents that aren't here today. So the people that aren't full-time residents, let's let them have a voice. And by either phoning in or by having a go-to meeting or FaceTime Live or things like that. So that's my thought on that. The kudzu eradication committee that worked very hard last year, we completed the pilot, and the oxbow seemed to be working the best, so that's what we're going to go with. And we set dates for the week of April 15th to do our actually go in and have all-day work parties. So James, you need to get those on your schedule, and I'd like to send the exact dates out to Linda so she can send them out so we can have more people probably join our committee and try to help us. So we're going to work on it in April. We're going to work on it in May. I'd like to report. Linda's been kind of keeping me up to date, but you all don't know about it. Trying to think of her name now. Martin Warner had proposed at a past council meeting that we look at the pond, which is filling up with debris, and that we have it dredged. And Linda's been doing a lot of homework behind the scenes to see about dredging it and what it would take. And one of the concerns was an engineering report to make sure that if we did dredge it now, that the dam would hold up. I haven't heard anything from that, and I don't know if you have an update that you can give everyone on that.
It'll be our first workshop.
You know, first workshop? Okay. So that's all I had, and tell everyone Happy New Year. Thank you.
Did you say that was April 15th?
The week of April 15th. Now, I sent the dates out to the community. I don't have I have a program that syncs my phone to my computer. I just checked my calendar, it didn't sync right. Has my ski trip in January scheduled for April, so I don't want to give out. I don't want to give out the exact dates, but I'll come home and throw on my calendar and I'll send them to Linda so you can get them out for y'all. Okay? Thank you.
Any other? Robert?
Yeah, if anybody can find an aerial photo of that pond there, that could be very helpful in getting a permit. We may need to do something like that. Prior to the 80s, early 80s, when the dam broke and that little lake behind Tanglewood all went into that pond. So we need a somewhere in the 70s, or before that dam broke. An aerial photo of that. I don't think you'll get a permit from the state to dredge that. So we have something.
Okay, may I speak?
Yes.
Okay. Debbie McAfee.
I said, ma'am, I was looking at him, but.
I know. Would you like to speak ahead of me?
No, go ahead.
Welcome, Mr. Mayor and your council members, all council members. I want to thank, last night we got a robocall saying there's ice out there, and congratulations to Mr. Durpa. Was it last night? Night before. Yeah, for getting everybody home from the club. I heard about that. It was a great thing. I guess my question, I really have two comments. The appointment of the city council liaison to various city departments, how will the city manager be involved in, or is this just going to be a work in progress? Because
the city manager will still be the city manager.
okay,
And she'll still oversee all of the operation. This is just the voice of the departments back to the council.
okay, because I see communication is the most important thing,
Yeah.
and lack thereof, because Connie had no clue. And that leads me into, I know Florida had a sunshine law where they were very restricted. And does Georgia have a sunshine law where? Okay, so I just wanted to make certain that was, because there did not seem to be communication. You left Connie out of that whole conversation, but thank you.
I'd like to actually speak on that one, Linda. I hear from you again, but I've spoken with, had quite a few conversations with GMA, who's Georgia Municipal Association's attorney. My understanding is that 4 people here create a quorum. However, it seems like every time I hear something, it's 3 people in Sky Valley meeting creates a quorum. And I'm a little confused on that, and so is the Municipal Association.
It's more than half the board, so 3 out of 5 would be a quorum, unless the mayor counts.
In our case, the mayor counts, so that pushes it to 4. That's why.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
To speak to Neil's comment about old business and
Would you
things.
please stand up so everybody can see you?
Yeah, have to say my name too? Yes, Suzie Poinkowski. Speaking to what Neil was saying about old business or big things out there, an item that was mentioned on one of the budgets concerning the Scaling Mountain Fire Department tree removal. I didn't hear or see on an agenda or at a meeting. Do you know if that has been followed up? Have the trees been removed? Okay, thank you.
Already?
Now,
Stand up.
I'm not standing up, I take me all
You
day.
can't stand up already.
I would like to know what interest the city council has in pursuing a sewage system for Sky Valley. I've been on the Water and Authority Board for 3 years working on that, and I don't want to work on it if you don't want to have a sewer system up here.
well, we do, but I think that we could bring that up on an agenda item whereby we could all sit down and talk a little bit more about it. We have some future plans that we just been kicking around in our heads and stuff. And that's going to pertain to the sewer system. And that, but just as a yes or no, yes, we do want you to continue representing the city at these meetings. And that we will be talking further on this.
The meeting in December, we were going to have somebody here, I gather, from the engineering management. It was a sanitary sewer feasibility study. Have you seen that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
The
So you,
feasibility study.
February meeting.
February?
Whenever you want it, but we talk about it.
Yeah, February meeting.
Okay.
Or we can do the workshop. You want the workshop or you want to come?
I think I'd like to have a workshop on it first. So we could just,
Well, I mean, they'll come present, but
Yeah.
do you want them to come present at the
Kind of
workshop
both.
or the meeting?
Both of them.
both.
Ask.
Yes,
Barbara Kovacker. One of the things that I'm interested in is what you're talking about right now, the sewer thing. I know that Ray's been working on it for years. I've heard nothing general. I just know, well, the sewer's coming up, it's gonna cost a lot of money, we need it, well, it'll only serve the valley flow, well, we gotta have this, we gotta have that. There's septic tanks. I think before you do a workshop on this, I would like to see the workshop done when the part-time people are here and taxpayers. I think a workshop in December and a workshop in February is not productive. There aren't enough people here, you don't have enough input, and when you're talking sunshine law, you need to look at doing this when the taxpayers are here. You can do your research, you can gather all your information, you can do all this stuff, but you don't go and ask for opinion when nobody's around. That's my big hoof on this.
Here, here, Barbara, I like the way you feel.
This gentleman, did you have your hand
Go
up?
ahead, yes, I did, go ahead.
Okay, I'm Maureen Platt. Congratulations to the council. I have served on the council and it was my privilege. I want to say thank you to the city employees. The weather has been awful, and now there's a possibility of a major snowstorm off the coast. And I'm ready to run to Florida. I'm a full-time resident, but I'm at it. Anyway, I congratulate you. You all have done, and the police and our utility people. It's been a challenge, and I thank you very much for what you've done.
And they were out working yesterday instead of watching football.
Yeah, I know that. And when it rained, when it rained, I had 7 people at my house who were evacuees from Florida. And I know these folks were out cutting trees in the pouring rain. We're very grateful for what you do. You take care of us.
Any other comments? Yes, ma'am.
I'm Helen Fiber, Good Lane. I congratulate you also and look forward to your work that you'll do for us. I know that in the last few years, there has been a very good working relationship with Harrison Merrill. I think most of you know that Harrison, or Mr. Merrill, owns over 500 acres of property. He owns the overlook, he owns the waterfall, he owns the park area across from the post offices. And I think that for the benefit of the public citizens of our city, that we need to maintain that good relationship with him, because otherwise we would be without those amenities. And I just wonder how, Linda, I know that you've dealt with him in the past, do you have any idea if we'll be able to continue to have access to those things?
Actually, if the mayor wants to report, I believe they've already met with Mr. Mayor.
We had went down and talked with Mr. Merrill, the 3 new appointees of the council, and myself, and Mr. Durpo, because he was the one that originally did this. And he is behind the development of, future development of Sky Valley. Our relationship with him when we left was on a high note. He offered any assistance that his company or other companies that he's involved with could, that if we needed help, he would see to it that we had it at a reasonable price. And, you know, we've talked about it off and on, that Sky Valley has basically nothing to offer to increase the value, the house value of Sky Valley. What happened in the past is in the past. It's not going back that way for an influx. But if we can bring in a big hotel, convention center, and have them, he before always said, I will sell no property unless it was all of it. When we left, he said that if you developed, you had a developer come in that wanted to build a hotel, a convention center together, and that the ski slope, he would sell separate. We don't need that. That's where, and that's basically the area of Sky Valley that we can develop. It is the future area of Sky Valley. And if you brought the hotel here and a convention center, what better place than Sky Valley to have it. I mean, the views, the mountains, everything. And what better place down at the bottom, over beyond the post office, that flat area for assisted living. If you put something like that in here, you know, along with this other, then you're gonna start bringing people in here, and it'll start to bring back Sky Valley. It isn't gonna be tomorrow, but it's what this council wants to work on for the future of Sky Valley. And so, and Mr. Merrill is all behind us.
Mr. Mayor, may I request that if y'all get together to go for another meeting with anybody, please include me.
You can.
Thank
If
you.
we can get them to come here, we have a sunshine law issue of 3 people. So that's one of the issues of.
I still want to be included.
Well, we can ask the community to go as well. That's what we have to do, we can do
That's
that.
fine.
And I think that's fair. I'd like to add a little something if I may. I've had multiple conversations with Mr. Merrill, and 2 of them, I've had one before meeting with them in person down there as well. I've toured his entire project.
Mr. Garber, could you speak up?
I'm sorry.
Talk to the crowd, not yourself.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't realize y'all down there can. Anyway, I've had multiple meetings with Mr. Merrill. We've gone over different designs. Most of what I'd like to see here was exactly what Mr. Merrill had proposed in the first place. And other than the hotel, which he was actually wanting to put condominium complex there. And, you know, he agrees that the motel is going to certainly generate traffic here that we've got to have in order for us to survive. We'd also talked about putting some assisted living in here and so forth. It's amazing, a lot of the people who sold houses for it have left to go to Florida or elsewhere to assisted living. One of the questions I ask is, would you stay? And they said, of course we'd stay. Our friends are here, our life is here, you know, but we don't have any facilities for such. And Mr. Merrill's agreed to do all of that. So he's been a part of some pre-planning, and so far is 100% on board.
Mr. Mayor, if I may,
Yes,
I've been a thorn in my side ever since previous mayor told us at a council meeting that in 30 days' notice, that mayor would take anything away from us, and we'd be stuck. I would like to ask that there be workshops before we spend any more public money on dollars to go on private property that we may not have within 30 days. Regardless of how things go with Merle, you know, it's just one guy, and if he passes, you're gonna deal with 5 of his heirs. So if you're gonna cut a deal, you need to cut it before he goes. It's gonna be a lot harder dealing with 5 heirs. But it just beyond me that the previous council, and they're my friends, could vote to put money into something, land, that we can be taken away from us in 30 days. So I would like to ask that we have workshops, get everyone's opinion before we put any more money on property that's not ours. Thank you.
Well, that is the purpose of the non-voting workshops, is to do this before any major venture the city takes on public or private land, to keep our citizenry aware of what our thoughts are, what our initial plans are, and to build on those, not in a closed session, but in the sunshine with everybody involved, as much as possible. We're the responsible council to make sure that we keep our citizenry.
Thank you.
I'd like to say something to that, and everything that we've discussed so far in preliminary talks requires no taxpayer dollars. And that's one thing that Laurie can help us with as well. as she can testify, it does not take taxpayers' dollars to run their convention center. It's all done through the hotel motel tax and so forth through that, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so it takes no, it's not gonna affect the taxpayers here.
I was wondering if the city of Sky Valley does get any interlocal taxes through the county at this point.
Not in Marion County,
Not in Raven County?
not those except for SPOS.
So there's not an extra tax that's,
Yes, there's a motel to hotel tax.
and restaurant tax too. I was wondering how much,
We don't get any, we get alcohol tax, alcohol beverage tax, and we get hotel motel tax and SPOS.
that seems like a good platform.
But as far as sales tax, we do not get regular sales tax.
Helen?
Okay.
Just the elephant in the room, and everybody knows this, is you can't build a hotel or an assisted living facility or any big thing like that until there's a sewer system. So, if a sewer system is built, then those things will come, you know, you build it and they will come. And so it's the catch-22 that we all realize, and so the future is bright and beautiful, but grant money or tax money would have to go into building a sewer system.
Okay, I have a motion to adjourn.
That's fine. Well, that's your job. No, that's right. You can. I'll make the motion.
Second.
Second.
Did somebody else need to say something, Kathy? Steve?
Meeting adjourned.
All right.
You too.
Happy New Year, my dear. Man, how you doing? Good. Get right here, right. All right, good Lord, you're on the sewer authority for Scranton,
For Sky Valley, it's,
correct? Liaison to Scott.
Really talk about this, really goes to March. Yeah. We've been up there a lot of times, we have company. I've gone up there, I've been just trying to hand signal some of the stuff.